of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly. Hello, and welcome to this live stream of today's public meeting, brought to you by Downtown Grand Rapids, Inc. Please stay tuned, and we'll see you shortly.
We're good. All right. Allow me to bring to order this Downtown Development Authority Board Member meeting, Wednesday, March 12th, 9 a.m. First, we have to approve our December 11th, 2024 minutes. They were in our packets. Are there any corrections and/or comments? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Support.
Any other comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Next, the preliminary February 28, 2025 statements. Good morning, Ms. Chapman. How are you?
Good morning. Statements as of February 28 are in your packet. At this point, we're about 67% of the way through the year. We've hit about 85% of budget in the non-tax fund and 54% of budget in the local tax fund. All your list of projects and where each of those are at are on Statement C. Statement D is our list of expenditures, which is what I would ask for approval for. And then Statement E are bond funds and just informational so you can see where the construction is at on those. I will say coming this week we have another payment release to the CAA for the amphitheater. It's obviously not reflected on these statements. I'm happy to take any questions if there are any.
All right. Any questions on the statements? All right, I guess not. Can we have a motion to approve Statement D?
Support.
All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Retail Innovation Grant. Mr. Elledge, good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Retail Innovation Grant number 1 in front of you today is for 17 South Division Avenue for Rewind. And unfortunately, the owner of the shop is running a little bit late, so I'm not sure that they'll make it here during our little spiel here, but I'll do my best to pinch hit. You do have a proposal in front of you to look through, so I'll just kind of talk really high level and happy to answer any questions. So Rewind Vintage, located at 17 South Division Avenue, they opened last June and executed a 2-year lease with 2 options for 5-year extensions. And they're seeking funding through the Retail Innovation Grant in an amount not to exceed $24,681 to support their investment. They've been a really good addition to South Division Avenue. They fit in extremely well with the other vintage retail shops that are down there. They've done some collaborations with their neighbors, Second Vibes, who we are all very familiar with, as well as working with other vintage shops like Zabhas and Decadence. Oh, he's here. Great. Caleb, you're on. Come on up, man. He'll be able to talk much more fluently about this than I will be. So let me introduce Caleb Straight, co-owner of Rewind.
Thank you.
They have your presentation.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. I do. Thank you. Appreciate it. This is my wife, Tina. She just had hip surgery last week. We didn't know if she was going to make it today, but she decided to come with because we wanted to both be here for this. Did you say anything, or should I just start? Oh. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. My name's Caleb. This is my wife, Tina. We own Rewind Vintage in Grand Rapids on 17 Division Avenue. We opened May of last year in 2024. Kind of our overall idea, what we're hoping to bring to the city is a creative space for art, music, just a creative outlet, focus on vintage with a vintage outlook. There's a lot of women's clothing stores in existence. If you think about it, there's not a lot of men-focused clothing store. You go to Macy or Kohl's or a big department store like that, the men's section's in the back corner, right? My wife never realized that until I explained that to her. So having a male-focused vintage clothing and collectible store was kind of our idea. We wanted to go right on Division because we saw the potential that Division had in the future, going down the road. So we see it slowly transforming. Even the past year, I think it's transformed a lot. So I'm excited to see what it's going to look like for the next couple of years. We would like to apply for this grant to help us get started with this business. We want to be able to bring some employees on, create some jobs, maybe open some opportunities for people to also grow their entrepreneurship in it as well. I love to teach people what I know and kind of pass that on. And so the grant money would help us continue on, keep doing what we're doing. We also want to continue. Last summer we did a lot of community events during the summer. We plan to do a lot more, hopefully this summer as well, and hopefully bigger than last year. That's what our mentality is on it. We want to go bigger and better. We really want to have this space feel kind of homely for people, where they can express themselves, give opportunity. Was that 2 weekends ago we did the art pop-up? 2 weekends ago we had an artist who just started kind of getting his art public, putting it out publicly. We did a little art pop-up in the store, and it went really great. He got to meet a lot of people, show his art for the first time in a public setting. So we let him just come and do that setup for free. So we don't charge the artist to do stuff like that. We just like people being able to get their creativity out. And what else should I say? I'm trying not to take as much time this time. I only have 5 minutes. Our vintage is a big market for us. We prefer vintage clothing, stuff made in the USA. We want to stick with that. We want to put people out of business like Temu and the fast fashion place where you can buy a shirt for $5, but it lasts you a half a day. The quality of stuff made in the U.S., vintage, old school stuff made in the 80s and 90s is just so much better quality. And that's why it's lasted this long. So that's kind of our focus. We want to continue to be a place focused on creating outlets for people, giving them creative ability, inspiring people for creativity as well. and yeah, just to continue to be able to do that.
We are also, with the community, we got to do a pumpkin patch last year out in the special event space that we had out there. That was a huge blessing. Just being able to do things in little ways for the community, for them to have a place to go on a Friday or a Saturday night or during the week, to hang out in a safe, fun environment where they feel a family atmosphere, a mom and pop type situation. And we love when people come in. We've actually had customers come in and they actually say, "Hey mom, does this look good on me?" And it's a wonderful feeling. It's a true blessing to be a part of Grand Rapids community and watching it build and being a part of that and being able to give back. So we're very blessed, and we feel very blessed to be a part of that.
Just to wrap it up real quick, a couple of things that we're looking forward to. We plan to do a couple upcoming events like this summer, some big collaborations with other businesses. That's kind of for community-based events. We want to be able to do stuff for the community, giving out food and without giving you too much detail. I can't give you too much details yet because we didn't announce it, but yeah, without giving you too much detail, we want to give back to the community, give back to kids. We want to do a big event down in the downtown area to help grow kind of the skateboarding community and stuff like that. So there's your hints. We also plan to do a few. Right now we have several music shows scheduled at the store to happen during the summer. We have one in April, May, and June scheduled, but we plan to do one kind of creative music event per month at least. That's giving local small bands. A lot of them don't get a chance to play at like the Pyramid Scheme or even one of these bigger venues. Even though it's not a huge venue, it still costs a bunch of money that some of these smaller bands don't have. So we can give them a chance to do it for no cost to them, and it creates entertainment for the community. So it's a good situation all around. And I don't know, anything other big things we have coming up?
It was a blessing to be a part of our prize last year. It was a true blessing also to be a part of the World of Winter this year. We had a very cool World of Winter window display called Rewind Spy with the old school highlights magazines kind of feel, where you look and try to find, for instance, what's the RV from the National Lampoon's Christmas movie, and you look for Eddie's RV. Of course, you have to know who Eddie is, but but yeah, we like to do fun things for the community, work with Grand Rapids, be a part of all the events that are going on, and we really look forward to seeing what's happening here in Grand Rapids and being a part of it.
Yeah, just kind of wrapping it up, we do plan to work with Grand Rapids Gold and the Van Andel Arena. We have a lot of sports stuff, since male sports, and so we want to get some of the local teams kind of involved. Maybe do a signing, something like that. They can meet some of the fans and stuff like that, and just some other just fun events that we want to do involving the sports teams. We've been in talks with them as well. So I think that's pretty much it. Questions?
Any questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
Maybe two. What's one thing you love about this location, and what's a challenge about this location?
The biggest challenge since we moved in's unfortunately been the construction. Besides that, I would say just the vacant other buildings on the street. But we know that won't stay like that. And we keep seeing them get rented and bought up and fixed around. So that's really encouraging. We saw that happening, we envisioned that happening, so we just wanted to get on it before it went crazy. That would probably be the
challenge.
Biggest challenge would just be the development, the street development. And then you said, what's the
Yeah, what do you
best
love
thing?
about that location? Yeah, what's great about it?
I actually went to high school at Catholic Central. When I went to high school there many moons ago, it was not actually an area that you felt safe venturing out into. To see the area that I went to school in, have it actually thrive, the entire town, the community make it so it's a safe place where people can actually go right from the school and walk to the Vintage. Now there's 9, I believe 10 actually, 10 shops and arts locations right there on Division, so they feel comfortable coming right from Catholic Central, walking on the streets. It's a blessing to be a part of the downtown community. There's no other place we want to be.
Yeah, great, thank you.
Glad to hear that. Any other comments or questions? All right, I'd entertain a motion to approve the expenditure not to exceed $24,681.
So moved. Support.
All right, any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. Motion carries.
All right, we have a second request for a retail innovation grant for 317 South Division Avenue for an amount not to exceed $23,026 for Nido, the Urban Nest, and here to talk more about their business concept is Rico.
All right, so it's actually 315 and 317. I don't know if that's relevant, but yeah, good morning. Thanks for being here. You guys all look great. I feel a bit underdressed, but yeah, so Nido, this space has been called, for me, it's the Urban Nest. I've been hearing it called like a gallery or an event space or a thrift store. Yeah, it's hard to put a name on it, but we'll go with the Urban Nest for now. Nido means nest in Spanish. And also behind me is Aves Films, who's our production company. I work with them as well. And so our social media has gained a lot of following. We had our grand opening this past Saturday. That went super well. We had 2 DJs and a live artist that came in and played for us, and it was great. I think a lot of people had a lot of fun. People really understood the concept of what I'm trying to do here, as well as so Miguel and Omar are the other 2 guys that are with me on this project. They've been super helpful. It's always nice to have someone to bounce off of ideas, and they're of the same idea of bringing the community together, having a third space, I guess you could say, that's like not so alcohol centric, that maybe you can hang out in and form connections and talk about art. So I'm forming a schedule now. So it's up to this point, it's been like, let's see, like 4 weeks since I've had the keys to the store. So it's been like opening it, obviously like setting it all up, curating it, setting up this grand opening. And so now it's at the point where I want to start consistently making events. So I'm planning on like Thursday nights being an art night, like a structured one, and then Sundays being kind of like a free art. So you can come in and like get a canvas and paint your own things. But I want to have mending portion. I'm not going to go through the slides or anything. I don't think we took like 20 minutes to get through these slides, so I'm just going to try to hit the good points and get to it. We have a guy called Casey. He's going to be doing mending workshops. Yeah, that's the team. There's myself with shorter hair, Omar, and then my cousin Miguel. We have a guy called Casey who's going to be mending. So with all these vintage stores, there's no one that's like fixing zippers or buttons, and so we brought him on. He just got let go from Public Threads, which they shut down and kind of laid off everyone. And so it's kind of a perfect opportunity, and just, you know, the timing was right. And I don't know, I believe in some of these like timing and interventions, we'll say. But he's super excited to be on board, and he's kind of working out of Nido's space. But yeah, I want to get him integrated into this vintage community. I think it makes a lot of sense. We are selling clothes. I enjoy clothes. I like patterns. I like the previous presentation. He was talking about Made in USA, and I like workwear. I like solid materials. I like some of this stuff that just makes sense. And I like expression, which is art, right? So super excited to be part of the community. Why art? And one of my favorite quotes, young architects can change the world by not building buildings. And I think we feel powerful within Grand Rapids. We feel young, and we feel like connectors, and that like kind of, I'm 30 years old, so I can seem kind of professional to you guys, as well as like be cool to the young people. So I've always looked at myself as a connector and kind of someone that can observe and kind of apply things and make my own, copy and pasting. It's always been a way to do art. And I made that little guy right there, the orange guy called Brennan. And that was kind of representation of when I left my full-time job. But, we won't go into that. Thanks so much for listening, for being here this morning, and for the opportunity to take over a space. It always seems weird. I'm like, they give me the keys to this place? I don't know. It's a beautiful place to be in Grand Rapids, where you can, someone like me or you can make change, and you can have power like this. So I appreciate it, and thanks for all you guys are doing.
Great. Any questions? By the way, some of us around the table feel young too.
You guys are all young. I have to fight with myself too with some of the cats that come around my store. So. I'm like, dang, I'm not that young.
Any comments, other comments, or questions?
I've just been wondering in general, not specifically about this request, but always when these come up, just in general about the ROI of our investments in businesses downtown. So grateful for the dashboard that we got to see how these grants have worked for the business owners in particular. I've also just been wondering about, is there a next iteration? So if we're not spending the entire budget to support businesses, we know that they need support far after they open, and wondering if there is some future thinking around sustainability of businesses downtown too, if that budget remains.
Melvin, you want to hit that one?
Sure, yeah. Thank you. So about 2 years ago, we sort of tinkered with the Retail Innovation Grant program, and as part of that, we started really thinking about retention and how can we retain businesses. We can't just hand them a check and be like, good luck, hopefully this keeps you around. So we did develop a handful of grants that are meant to sort of, continue to be a draw for businesses to stay downtown. They're really centered around businesses working together, collaborating, as well as hosting events and driving vibrancy to their space. And it's something we're always thinking about. We end up spending all of our budget every year. So these will be the last 2 innovation grants for this fiscal year. But once we close the grant because we've run out of money, we always take those opportunities to really look at, the businesses that came through the previous year, what challenges did they have, and how can we, tinker with the innovation grant as much as we can to make it better, and what other opportunities do we have to develop, additional supports for businesses, either on the forefront as they're starting up, or from the retention side if they've started up. So it is something we are taking a look at, and we will be sort of tinkering with the retention piece of the grant for FY26. So, yeah.
Why don't we entertain a motion to approve this grant?
Support.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. I would like to say the things that we're doing, such as World of Winter, our prize, continuing our prize, are all attempts to really keep businesses flourishing. I think we also should continue to look at those ways as well.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Just a follow-up comment. Jim's questions and comments are very prudent. Is there a role for us to play to facilitate maybe a mentorship connection? And I think there's a variety of probably resources in the community providing this, but as a young, not in age, but in experience entrepreneur, there's more that you don't know. And having a one-to-one sort of connectivity that can meet a person where they're at, work with their schedule, might really extend the longevity of some of these businesses. I mean, we all know retail is one of the toughest businesses you can launch. And so providing that sort of stuff. I just wonder if there's a facilitation role, not a duplication for the DDA, but if we could be a catalyst for bringing some, one-to-one resources, just food for thought.
Yeah.
It's a great point. One of the things that we do require in the agreements is connection to an entrepreneurial support organization, because there are a number in the community. Depending on where a business owner or retailer is in their sort of business development, some of those happen more often than not, but it is something that we not only ask them to do, but we'll help facilitate if they need help making the connections.
As usual, you and your team are way ahead of us.
So
thank you.
It's a great point, but I appreciate that.
Any other comments? All right, we'll move on. Number 6, the Ecliptic at Rosa Parks Furniture Purchase. Why is that hard to say?
Rolls right off the tongue. I'll carry this one. And had a memo in the packet, just quick overview. We continue to partner with the city and the Ecliptic at Rosa Parks Circle Conservancy Board on oversight and management of the park space. We've noticed that the furniture that's out there is a little dated and needs some refreshing. So proposing a 3-way split to purchase new tables, chairs, and umbrellas. There you see, these were in your packet as well, but there are the quantities. The 3-way split amounts to just under $52,000 each. So with your approval today, we would get that ordered and have it ready and delivered by June of this year. So it would be out for most of the summer.
You do realize that your recommendation looks like 52 million?
I was just double checking to see if anyone was trying to I don't think it looks like 52 million. I think it is 52 million.
Any comments on that? Yes, Member Beth?
Question, what sort of approvals did you have to get in order to have this specific furniture on that site?
Yes, great question. And I know you know the site very well. So we went through the Conservancy Board. We also went through the designer contractor that had approved it, and these were spec'd in the guidelines that were developed during the renovations of the park. Good question.
In follow-up to that, I know when we were doing improvements to the park, we had to run it by Mylan's team.
Right.
That doesn't, we don't have to do that for temporary furniture.
Not for temporary, and they did have review of that spec, the guidelines that were developed. So they have at least seen the idea of what would be out there. We don't have to get their approval for this.
Okay, so it's covered.
Yes.
Okay.
The other thing I didn't mention, I just wanted to add, is the city will be the owner, and they'll be responsible for maintenance of both the furniture and the park going forward.
Oh, good.
Yep.
Any other comments? Thank you, Mayor, by the way. Any other comments?
With the amendment that it's 52,000.
Yes.
Thank you.
Not to exceed.
Bottom resolution coming up next.
All right, all in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Number 7, 26 fiscal year budget update.
Yeah, and just a quick reminder on where we are in our process. So nothing for you to do on this today, but just wanted to tee it up for our discussion in April. We are in budget season. I think the clicker stopped working. There we go. So internally doing a lot of organizing and just making sure that we're prepared to bring forward a recommendation to you April 15. We'll be meeting with our Citizen Alliance group on April 1st and bringing their, I guess, endorsement to you, and then that's ahead of coming to the City Commission in May. Doing a lot of the analysis right now around projected local tax increment growth. This shows you our actuals year over year over the past 5 years. Average around 12%. Last year, if you recall, we budgeted a 5% increase. Part of what I think we can talk about next month is how aggressive we want to be. I think given economic conditions, we may want to ratchet that back a little bit. The city is projecting and proposing 1% property tax value increase. So I think we're going to want to be smart about where we land, whether it's 1, 2, 5, but that's something we can talk about next month, but just wanted to put that in front of you. And then parking, of course, our other main source of revenue, given the sale of Area 7 and some of the changes over on the west side, likely projecting flat growth through there. We will see additional revenue start to come in from that land sale, but it's going to be over time. So all of that to say, we're probably going to have not a whole lot of changes in terms of our projected revenue for FY26 versus FY25. But we have, a fair amount of resources that we'll be thinking about how to deploy. Although we do also have a lot of obligations. So that's the other part I always like to balance here is we have a lot coming in, but we also have a lot going out. Just off the top, agreements for gain sharing, our tax increment finance reimbursements and debt service obligations, total just about 5 million. So of that 11 million or so that comes in, a lot of that already is pledged. And not to mention some of the projects that we're also moving forward that are multi-year capital improvement projects or programs like the Dash or Ambassador. So a lot going on, as you all are well aware, and a lot of prioritization for me and the team to do over the next few weeks, but just wanted to set that up for you to see if you have any food for thought. Otherwise, we'll dive into more of it next month. Last thing I wanted to add is that GR Forward, we're in the 10th year of that now, so we will be budgeting to initiate the update to that plan later this calendar year. And I think that's all I had on this item, but happy to have any questions or discussion.
Any questions? Just I know a lot of our revenue sources are fairly durable in the short term, but those that are less resilient, like parking, I would encourage a downside case it to be baked into your assumptions for a reason that you already alluded to.
Good point.
Or buy more parking lots.
There's that. Great investment.
So this might be something for Tricia, but 1% seems really conservative, is it? Or what's the picture behind, what is the thinking behind that, I wonder?
Yeah, I'll let Tricia take that one.
I think I looked at what we budgeted in the general fund, and I believe it was 1% increase over actual, not over what was budgeted. And then going forward after that was like 2 to 1, 2, 3, something like that. I mean, they typically budget pretty conservatively, for property taxes. I mean, you guys can increase that if you want. Typically, we do outperform our budget, so I would think there would be no problem with that.
So maybe a better question would be, what's the difference between budget and actual?
I would have to get back to you on that.
Yeah, we have that info, but we can.
For the current fiscal year?
Yeah, or current fiscal year, but I'm also curious if that's a trend. I mean, if it's just a practice the city has of budgeting very conservatively, then you're assured to have more money at the end. I mean, I get it, but it just seems really conservative.
We pushed the budget up last year, and
that is the city's.
I suspect we'll do the same.
Vote for income tax.
Yeah.
And we did, last year we budgeted 10.6 in local tax increment, and the actuals are 11.1.
Yeah, so I think, and we budgeted 3%?
I think it was 5.
5%? We need to look at that,
Yeah.
as we did last year.
Yep.
So.
I mean, you're right, Al. It is hard to imagine a planet on which revenues don't go up. I mean, we all know how Headley works, right? But we also all know what rough inflation calculations are, and the odds we have less than 3% inflation next year are not very good. The odds that property taxes don't go up at least 3% aren't very good. So, and a 1% scenario doesn't sound realistic, but it is conservative, yeah.
Okay. Yes.
The DDA has made some really significantly large commitments going forward, and I'm concerned about our ability to make any more large commitments, whether we will have that flexibility in the future as other opportunities come up, or whether we're just going to be able to sustain what we've already committed to. That's a consideration, I think, in terms of the budget.
Yeah, constant balance, and thank you for bringing it up. I think the other piece of the puzzle within all of this is the land that we own and are selling. So obviously the soccer stadium is part of that, the development site next to the soccer stadium, some of the other parking lots on the west side. So that is another sort of factor in our thinking going forward, but appreciate the point.
Yeah. Any other comments? All right. Tim, your report?
Yeah, a couple things to highlight for you. Later this morning, a few of us are going to be over across the street at 111 Lion for, I think, the first of its kind sledgehammer ceremony. So that is just a reminder, that's the kickoff to the renovation of Fifth Third and converting to residential. So exciting project and looking forward to going over there. Fulton to Wealthy, the trail, that contract was awarded yesterday at City Commission for OAK. So we're excited for that. Thank you to the city and City Commission for marshaling that through. Work will be starting out there in the spring, and that'll deliver the river edge adjacent to the amphitheater. So exciting to see that. And then also on our radar is just the Oxford Trail bids. Those are supposed to go out later this month, and we'll expect to see those back in April. So still a lot of work happening on the river edge, as you're well aware, but we'll see a lot of construction start to pick up in the spring. Also yesterday, the City Commission approved bonds for soccer stadium and parking over at the amphitheater, or other additional funds for the amphitheater. So thanks as well to Jessica and the city on that one. Wanted to highlight that we are expecting fencing to go up over there on April 15, and then there'll be a groundbreaking likely in May, but keep your eye out for that. We'll make sure you're informed, but exciting to see work underway. Wayfinding phases E and F are underway and will be wrapped up likely by the end of April. So those are the final two phases of the wayfinding that we have been working on over the past several years, and by we I mean Melvin. So thanks to him for all that work, but it's nice to see these signs go up and especially being used. Wrapped up World of Winter a couple of weekends ago. Overall, great event. We are working with GVSU to put together an economic impact report, and then internally we're just kind of doing our post-event wrap-up. So we'll have more to share with you on how this year went compared to others in the next few months. But team, as always, did amazing work, and it was great to see all the community come out and enjoy downtown in the cold months. Thinking ahead to the summer, we are partnering again with Studio Park on the Sunset Cinema movie series. The lineup is out and can get, I should say, the lineup is getting voted on currently. So if you want to vote and let us know what movie you want to see, head to Facebook and you can do that. And then just a reminder that St. Patrick's Day is on Monday, so there's a couple parades going on. Hope you come out and enjoy downtown this weekend. I think that's all I had.
Tim, I have a couple questions on our, what do you call
Vitals.
it? Vital statistics. So if we're looking at office vacancy, have you removed Fifth Third?
I don't think that has come
Not
up
ordered
yet.
for.
I'm sorry, it wouldn't be out yet.
It will be.
It will be for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And then when we say resident activity counts, remind me what that means. It looks very robust, but is that residents moving downtown, or is it residents, existing ones, moving around the city? Or what?
It would just be residents within downtown, their activity for that period. So if you're looking at...
So activity meaning, I'm sorry, but...
They're walking around in downtown, essentially.
How do you know I'm a resident?
Your phone. Your phone tells me everything.
Where you stay overnight.
Yeah. Remember, this is the aggregated data that we pull from Placer AI.
Okay.
So they have algorithms that'll figure out.
And one last question, because of how do you determine work rides on the Dash? Because the Dash is actually up, at least in Mobile GR report, it was up pretty substantially overall for, I think we reported January, right?
Yes.
So I'm just curious, these numbers seem...
Are these updated ones, Mary?
Work is, well, first of all, that report is only through, I think, January.
Yeah, right.
And work is the separate route from the Dash that connects the west and east side of the river.
Okay.
So
Right.
it picks up at Area 9 and drops off in front of our office.
Okay,
So it's two separate routes.
okay.
Yeah, so it's not necessarily the regular dash, if you're looking
All
at
right.
the work.
I got the numbers for February, and that does reflect the increase that we saw at Jury Commissions.
Okay, thank you.
A follow-up on that, visitor activity counts, I'm assuming temperature is the explanation. Last year's January or February was much warmer than this year's. Was there anything else going on?
All right, your visitor activity count. I mean, world of winter in general. I think so. These are January. Shows January 25. I think the weather last January was pretty poor, and we can actually, if you're interested in, we can show the weather on each day in January and how that influenced activity.
Only interested if there's an explanation beyond that.
Yeah.
Things we can control.
Sure. Yeah, we'll drill into that. Okay. Let you know.
And just, if anyone's looking at occupancy versus 2019, the reason that's down actually is because of the increased inventory. Excuse me, not because revenue is way up. So
Hotel, you're saying?
hotel
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, FYI.
Good to know.
All right. Any other comments, Tim, on your report?
No.
All right. Next is public comment. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to speak, now is your opportunity. All right, seeing none. Board member discussion. Any happy thoughts for this Wednesday?
It's going to be 70 on Friday.
Yes, 70 on Friday.
Today.
All right.
Yeah, it's freezing.
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks, all.